Joining us now here in the studio, Jason Miller, senior advisor to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. In your wildest imagination, you can't have thought that Joe Biden would deliver such an abysmal performance. Was this a gift from the gods for you?
Well, I knew that President Trump was going to deliver. And not only did he deliver, it was the greatest performance in debate history, which, by the way, Howie, that's not just me saying it. New CBS Ipsos polling out this morning in a clip of 56 to 16 are saying that President Trump beat Joe Biden in that debate. What I didn't quite expect was that Joe Biden would do poorly. Look, we've seen him as far as how he interacts, how he stumbles around. That part didn't necessarily surprise me. What surprised me is that after a week of being locked away in a log cabin in the middle of the woods, Joe Biden couldn't lay out any sort of vision for where he wanted to go, which, by the way, he took a week on vacation while we have 55 ISIS terrorists running around the country.
Well, you're always president.
That's unforgivable. You can't take a week of vacation when you have terrorists running around the country. But President Trump dominated Joe Biden on the vision issue. That same poll I referenced, President Trump's leading Joe Biden 44-18 on who actually delivered a vision.
So now we have this environment where media liberals and a lot of Democrats and people who had supported the president are urging him to step aside. I've heard Donald Trump, though not lately, say he ultimately didn't think Biden would be the nominee. Do you think when the dust settles that Joe Biden will be on the ticket?
Joe Biden's definitely going to be the Democrat nominee for a couple of reasons. But going back to since you call out the media and you call balls and strikes, the fact that so many in the media, especially the media establishment, have sat by for 3.5 years and said nothing about Joe Biden. I mean, just a week and a half ago, we were debating whether or not these cheap fake videos are basically accurate descriptions of Joe Biden were real or fake. And now the same people who are decrying that are saying Joe has to go. Here's why Joe is going to be the nominee. Number one, you can't force him off. Some 3,700 out of the 3,800 regular Dem delegates are bound on the first ballot, so they can't force him. Couple of reasons why Joe Biden is not going to leave on his own. Number one, that'd be the end of the Biden family business. There'd be nothing else. I mean, you're not going to teach a Biden how to code or have them go switch another occupation. They've been selling access for 50 years. Biden doesn't want his reputation, his legacy to be tarnished as a quitter. As the same way that we're now saying presidents don't want to be the next Herbert Hoover, 100 years from now, they'll be saying they don't want to be the next Joe Biden. But more importantly, Joe Biden has launched a dangerous precedent for what happens to American presidents when they leave office. And when you look at by his letting the genie out of the box, it is now the norm that we are essentially a third world banana republic where you have congressional investigations, civil lawsuits, criminal lawsuits. It's a very uncertain future for any president now when they leave. I think Joe Biden knows that.
You tweeted that the media and the Democratic establishment has been covering for crooked Joe Biden, in your words. That presumes members of the media knew all along about Biden's deteriorating condition and held it back when almost all of us knew just what we saw on TV. Obviously, he had lost a number of steps.
Well, right. And it's the media establishment. I mean, you can see it with your own two eyes. I mean, they're making it sound as though those who cover the White House on a daily basis can't just see that Joe Biden is unable to function normally. But here's the thing. Just now, because of a debate performance, they're saying something. They weren't going to say something after Joe Biden allowed 20 million illegals into the country. They're not going to say something after he allowed crippling inflation or after the dead service members in Afghanistan.
Well, you're criticizing him on policy, not his ability to do the job. But I want to turn to this because the media fact checkers, as you know, are now saying this is sort of their counter to the president's bad performance, that Donald Trump said a lot of things at the debate that weren't true. So let me let you respond. On his justices overturning Roe v. Wade, every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, and conservatives. Well, that's just not true. Scholars on the pro-choice side very much wanted to keep Roe.
Well, I haven't seen anyone put forward any particular scholars that disagreed. And so I would say if you want to talk about who's actually the one who was misleading people, Joe Biden stood on that debate stage, looked the American public in the eye, and said no service members have died under his administration. So to disrespect the families of the military members who were killed in Afghanistan is quite frankly disgusting. And you know what? 4 years ago, when he said Hunter did nothing wrong, when he said that his family had no business dealings with China, when he said the laptop from hell was fake, when those 51 intelligence officers got up there and had that letter, that was fake from the beginning, and Joe Biden's one who lied to the American public.
All right. Well, you did make the point that he was mistaken about no American casualties. All right. Trump said in the debate that Biden gets paid by China. There is no evidence, as opposed to Hunter Biden's sleazy buckraking around the world, that Joe Biden got a dime.
Well, we know that Hunter Biden has taken millions of dollars from China. That's
Okay.
undisputed. We also know from Hunter Biden's communications that he said that they have to set aside 10% for the big guy. Other times he said as much as half.
But you have a congressional committee, Republican committee, looking into this that was unable to prove this allegation.
You know what? I'm going to trust Biden's own family, who says that money goes to him. So if Hunter is getting millions from China, some of it's making its way to Joe.
Former president said of Biden, he indicted me because I was his opponent. Now, first of all, what evidence do you have that Biden was involved in any indictment decision? And would a re-elected Donald Trump seek criminal charges against Biden?
Well, President Trump has already said that his only retribution will be success. And we have 4 years to look at of how President Trump operated in the White House. Never went after a political opponent, never threatened to go after political opponents. What we've seen this administration do with Merrick Garland, I mean, literally, they had the number 3 person at the DOJ leave and go to New York to head up legal efforts there. We saw it's Biden's own DOJ that launched the special counsel going after President Trump. So all roads here lead to Joe Biden. None of this would be happening if this wasn't about politics and Joe Biden being worried he's going to lose.
Well, I'll just point out that Biden's DOJ also initiated the criminal proceedings against Hunter Biden.
Which, by the way, I mean, you talk about who is responsible for covering up on Joe Biden. Why won't they release the HER tapes? Now we know, the interview tapes with Joe Biden, because if it was this bad on the debate stage, imagine how bad those tapes are. That's why Joe Biden's attorney general, very political, is covering this up.
That was a nice pivot. When your campaign made known that the VP announcement might come this week, wasn't that a head fake in case the debate didn't go well? You could change the subject?
No, not at all. Howie, you've covered President Trump for a long time. This is my 3rd time working for President Trump on the campaign trail. There's one person who's going to pick the VP, and that's going to be President Trump. It could be tomorrow on Truth Social. It could be during the convention. It could be anywhere between now and then. There's only one person who knows who he's going to pick and when.
Well, he says he's made up his mind, but we don't know who. So lots of media outlets are reporting, because I didn't want to get into this speculation game early, but they're reporting that the 3 finalists are Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, and Doug Burgum. Is that accurate, or is that speculation?
The president has spoken highly of all 3 of those people. The president has also spoken very highly of a number of others. And so until he actually says it from his own mouth, then speculation is just speculation.
So even though you're an integral part of the campaign, you don't know when and how this will play out?
Correct.
And he could change his mind.
And you know what? Nobody does except for President Trump. And quite frankly, that's his right. And right now, he's been taking the fight to Joe Biden. That's where the focus is going to be. But whoever he picks, and this is really important, Howie, he said whoever he picks is going to be someone that he is confident could step in and lead if they ever need to. And that is the most important thing with selecting a VP.
Just very briefly, if somehow Biden were to step aside and there were a new nominee who obviously would be younger, would that be a problem for your campaign?
It doesn't matter. They're all part of the same establishment. They're all part of the same cabal that covered up Joe Biden's physical and mental failings. They're going to follow the same liberal policies. They're not going to secure the border. They're not going to stop the spending. They're going to leave the $2 trillion deficit will probably get even bigger under someone else. But they're in a real problem here. Their insurance policy is Kamala Harris. She's polling worse than Joe.
I can't argue with that. I'm very happy to have a chance to talk to you. Jason Miller, thanks so much. After the break, veteran Democrat Philippe Ryan, who was at the debate.